Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Good day, St. Lucia. Welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. I am Philip Sidney, your host. Before I delve into today's program, I would like to take a moment to recognize and say congratulations to Sir Calix George, who has been given an honorary doctorate for his contribution to research and development in agriculture. Congratulations, sir. You have done well for us here in St. Lucia. And this is coming from your boys, the gentlemen you trained, class of 69. We attended the Agricultural Cadet Corset Union, and people like myself, Henry LaForce, Stephen Best, Lenny Chitoli, Ronnie Pilgrim, and the list goes on. You, of course, our mentor, and you made us who we are today. So thank you again and for your contribution. Today, we are recognizing pesticide awareness. Every year we need to do that because we want people to understand that pesticides are dangerous. But of course, they're also good if they're used in the way they're supposed to be used. With me today is Dr. Cletus Alexander, who is the Crop Protection Officer attached to the Research Division in the Ministry of Agriculture. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me on the program once more time.
Of course, sir. We need to remind the people about what's happening, especially the farmers. And not only farmers, you have other persons who don't know, but they're using chemicals. People are using aerosol in their homes, and the list goes on. We need to give them some admonition. We need to guide them continuously how dangerous, if not used safely, that chemicals can be. Can you give us the history of the use of chemicals in the world?
Right. Let's start this way. Every year, 26th of September, in the CGPC region, CGPC is the grouping of pesticide boards of the Caribbean. On this day, we raise awareness on pesticides. Normally, we have a whole week of activities, but today we're just celebrating Pesticide Awareness Day. In terms of history, pesticide use is an age-old practice. Centuries even before Jesus Christ was born, pre-Roman civilization, they used pesticide. Imagine,
according when God had
before Jesus Christ, right. Sulfur, if you check the history of sulfur as a pesticide, is more than 4,500 years. The history of arsenic to control ants in China is more than 4,000. And even tobacco, nicotine from the tobacco plant as a pesticide this started in the 17th century. But in terms of pesticides, why pesticides? On a global scale, you have in excess of 10,000 species of insects to control. You have 3,000 species of weeds. So there is a problem. So there is a place for the use of pesticides. In St. Lucia, we have 601 pesticides registered. On a yearly basis, we import close to 200 tons of pesticides. That's a lot of pesticides we bring in.
On an annual basis?
Yeah, into the country. Wow. But it's not for agriculture alone. We have, for the households, for structural pest control, we have pesticides in paints and so forth. While the technology is not wrong, the use of the technology can contaminate the environment. Now, as I said, we have 601 pesticides registered. And in terms of the assumptions that we can make in terms of pesticides in St. Lucia, there is inadequate use of the PPE, which is the personal protective equipment. Mixing is an issue. The farmers tend to practice more is better. As a result, the concentration of the substance is sometimes too high for the intended use, and you have pest resistance and so on. The people apply pesticides with no regard to the environment. People, based on the label, some of the precautionary statements that should be adhered, and those statements, you have it on the label. And we know very well that the farmers, they are not adhering to the pesticide label. I don't know if it's because they cannot read and understand the pesticide label. Not only farmers that cannot read and understand pesticide label. You have persons with university degrees who cannot read and understand a pesticide label. So a pesticide label is a very complex issue, the pesticide label.
Yeah, but that's very important what you mentioned there. So it means, therefore, they are using it, but they don't know what they're using and how to use it,
yes.
and also the concentration?
Yes, sure. Okay. Sometimes you go out in the field. Not out in the field alone, even at the household level. If you take a pesticide label, you will see that pesticides should be applied with the proper personal protective equipment. On a daily basis, housewives, they apply rodenticide. Do they have gloves when applying the pesticide? Pesticides should be kept on the lock and key. That is on the label. Pesticides should be kept away from children. When we apply the rodenticides at home, is it away from the children? They are householders as well, they are in the household. When they go out in the field, we see farmers applying pesticides. Say, for example, paraquat, this is the so-called gramaxone. A few drops of gramaxone can kill you. We see farmers applying paraquat with mist blowers without respirators. So I'm wondering, when you take the pesticide label, you would see on the pesticide label a product that can kill you. It's on the label. Unintentional use of the pesticide can kill you. It can irritate the eyes. It can get through the skin.
Your nostril.
So it amazes me why people refuse to use their personal protective equipment when it comes to pesticide.
So are you saying they just careless? They just don't take heed at all? It's written on the label, but they just don't read the label.
Well, as I said, it may be because they cannot read and understand the pesticide label. As I said, the pesticide label, on the label you have some scientific information there. And maybe most persons, they are not okay with some of those terms that are being used on the pesticide label. Because on the pesticide label you will get the warning words, like danger, harmful, and so on. You will get the hazard statement, harmful to human health. It may damage your kidney, it can damage internal organs, it may be an endocrine disruptor. We have all the necessary, those information. You have precautionary use statement, like you have the gloves, you have the color band to give you an indication as to how toxic the product is. But, as I said, persons, I don't know why, but we need to find out from those farmers.
But that's dangerous, because, okay, somebody goes to a pesticide store and request to buy a chemical, all right? So it's not incumbent on the person selling it to that person to see this is what it is, how to use, what to do. Is that being done?
Well, as I said, it's a broken system. Sometimes some of those persons who sell those pesticides as well,
are they trained?
Trained to handle pesticides. They will have a shop, you come to buy something, I will give you something. It may not be the right product.
Exactly, because it happened to me one time.
I will give you something.
I was at a particular store, and I remember somebody came in and they said what was affecting the crop. And based on what the person was saying, I knew it was a fungus. But the guy recommended an insecticide, and I had to jump in and say no. You know, so that's the kind of thing that's happening out there.
Yeah, that's it. If you have an insect problem, you should use an insecticide.
Of course.
If you have a fungal problem, you should fungicides. If you have a problem with nematodes, you should use
nematicide. Yeah.
A nematicide will not control insects.
Exactly.
So, again, in terms of the regulation of those substances, you have to understand that people now, they producing crops, they use the product in the household. Why? Most times you see people use pesticides and they have the view that they're going to kill the pest. You are not going to kill the pest. Say for example, you apply herbicides on a monthly basis during the rainy season. Are you killing the weeds?
Nope.
Well, they will have some that will be susceptible and the others that will be, they're going to tolerate whatever dosage that you apply. So it is very important that we use pesticides wisely. If you're not sure, ask for help.
So your extension officer is key in that regard.
Yeah, in terms of dissemination of the information and educating the farmer. Well, you talk about extension officers. What about the persons using those pesticides out in the household?
Exactly. For example, I know people who have used aerosol, all right, for spraying for mosquitoes. And the smell is nice. It smells nice. I know I've heard persons who have used it as deodorant, you know, but they will spray it and they will stay in it in the house, you know, watching television.
Yeah. Again, as I said, we tend to be talking a lot about the label because the label is the law. Because on the label, you will see on the label, unintentional use of the pesticide can kill you. And that is unintentional use of the pesticide. Before you had aerosol, you want to watch television, you spray. You open the windows, you go out, ventilate the place, and then you go back in.
Exactly.
So now because of the scent that some of those pesticides, they tend to put in those pesticides, persons believe, well, it is safer.
Yeah.
But it is not.
It's not.
It is the same, because when you have a pesticide, key is the active ingredient.
Correct.
That is what is going to give you the kill, whatever dosage you have in this particular container. So if you have the pesticide, sometimes it was not scented. You had it at 50% strength. Now, a lot has happened in terms of pesticide management. Sometimes you find the formulation tend to change, the dosage tend to change. So if the dosage has been increased, and even though they add the scent, it means that you exposed to the pesticide at a higher level than it was before. Yes. So definitely, and we have to understand that the body is very susceptible. It's not like you're not like a turtle. If you have a turtle, you have a hard shell, it's very difficult for something to get inside of the body. But for you, you have the skin, the biggest organ in the body. You have lots of pore spaces on your skin. You have your eyes where they can get in. You have your nose. You have your mouth where the pesticides can get in. So it is, as I said, in terms of the safe use of the pesticide, a lot is dependent on the user of whatever product that they can use.
And you know what I mean, it's scary, like you mentioned a while ago, the use of the rat bait in the home and not taking it out in the morning. I'll come back to that with you for a break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned, we'll be back very, very soon.
The Ministry of Agriculture presents World Food Day under the distinguished patronage of the Honorable Alfred Prosper. Figlas Sanutut Sonutut Saut, Lakai IRDC grounds, Denry, on the 12th of October from 11 a.m. onwards, the Banana and Plantain Festival. Sa Pakai Normal. Eat what you grow up is food in Port Bill Nutoho. Everything produced from bananas and plantain by agro-processors and students. Sit Lisi, that's the way to go. Lots of booths with delicious dishes. Lisha Duet, Parmache Salani Entertainment Gala, Impulse Man, Umpa, Servants, Ezra, Invader, Mofire, Wuletete, and lots more. Like I sit near kids zone. So children, you're not on your own. Eat fresh, St. Lucia's best.
Welcome back to the program Agriculture on the Move, of course, with me, Dr. Cletus Alexander, Crop Protection Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture. And we are discussing pesticide awareness. Very, very important. Cletus, let's go back a bit, because this thing is dangerous. And I bit no bones about it. Before the break, we were just talking about the use of rat baits in the home to control rodents. And you put it in every corner, it's on the floor. You have a baby that you have crawling on the floor, and you do not get this thing out of there. That baby is at risk.
Sure.
And it has happened before.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And still happening.
Then you have the other thing where you take the pesticide from its original container and you put it in a soft drink bottle. I mean, what are we doing?
Okay, let's deal with the one for the rat bait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you have children at home, now people have to understand that the use of pesticides, that is not the only way to control pests.
Exactly.
So if you going to apply the rat bait at home, you do not have a bait station, because normally it is advisable at home that you have a bait station where the rodent can go inside and eat whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because most times if you just apply the product haphazardly
yes.
around the place,
yes.
sometimes you can see the product, but it doesn't mean that the rodent is going to eat whatever product that you have there.
Mm-hmm.
But to make sure that this is done, you have to use a bait station. It's only through the bait station you'll be able to monitor to find out whether this is being done. Now, if you have children at home, some of the rodenticides that we use at home, they are classified as highly hazardous pesticides. So, for example, clear rat. If you take the pesticide container, the bag, the concentration is 0.005. It means a very small amount of that product can kill a child. So the best approach would be, if you have children, and on the pesticide container you see that product should be kept away from children. Mm-hmm. I would not apply such a dangerous product at home. I would probably get a trap or rat glue or something, you understand, which is safer within the household setting to apply to use on that. Again, in terms of the container, all pesticides should be sold in their original container. So what you have now is that persons now are engaged in manufacturing of the product. They import in bulk and then they repackage the product. Now, as I said, key is the container. You don't want to apply a very dangerous pesticide into a container that is going to rupture very quickly.
Yes.
Something that is going to leak. So hence the reason I always tell people, in order to ensure your safety, you should not purchase any pesticide that is repackaged. That is your health. You should protect your own health.
So.
The person that is repackaging the pesticide, if you don't buy it, it means it's not going to sell, the person is going to stop it. That is my approach. But it isn't happening.
But I suppose it's a question of cost. Because if you buy the bigger one, it's more expensive. So you figure, okay, I'll buy a smaller portion, which is less. But that is dangerous.
Cost to whom?
Exactly.
It's a major cost to the environment. It's a major cost to human health.
Yes.
Because if you get sick, as I said, pesticides, some of those pesticides, they can damage some of your internal organs. So let's assume this happened to you by purchasing the pesticide in the wrong container. It means you have to spend thousands of dollars at VH or St. Jude's to get the problem corrected. So it means you have to be careful. You have to, whether it's a farmer or whether it's for structural pest control, whether it's for persons who are manufacturing paint, you should follow what is on the pesticide label before you sell whatever product. The pesticide label and the material and safety data sheet. Because the material and safety data sheet is a very important tool in terms of managing the pesticide. Because before manufacturing of the pesticides and after manufacturing, you have research being conducted. You have research in terms of human health, research environment, whether that pesticide is toxic to bees, whether the MRL, what residue level that is going to be left on the crop after spraying. So the safety MSDS sheet, that is key as well on the label in terms of communicating the information, communicating how toxic the pesticide is, communicating some of the risk mitigation measures that you have to undertake in terms of managing whatever you have in the container that you have just purchased at the agribusiness place.
But the other one that concerns me a lot too is the use of agricultural pesticides, especially the farmer using pesticides on leafy vegetables like lettuce. As you know, once the lettuce have 3, 4, 5 leaves, you can pluck it and eat.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't have to give you that big canopy to harvest. Okay, so you have this preventative measure. You spray. Two things can happen. One, you have pre-day larceny. You spray today, a day later or 2 days later, that it has not gone through that period before you harvest. The guy steals the thing and he comes and he sells it to people out there at a good price, according to the parlance, je ne bois. But at what cost? It's at your health.
Yeah, because again, that is why advice is very important. If you have something like a leafy vegetable, like, for example, lettuce, that you're going to harvest very soon, you should probably, if you have a problem, I can recommend probably neem oil.
Yeah.
A softer chemical.
Exactly.
But if you have something like lettuce you're going to harvest, I will not recommend a systemic insecticide like Caprid that is going to get into the system of the plant, that probably is going to stay in the plant for a couple of weeks.
3 weeks, yes.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Which is harvesting is almost there, 6 weeks.
Yeah, as we said, key again is the pesticide label. You have to go to the pesticide label. If you have a problem with lettuce, whatever pesticide that you're going to apply, can you apply this pesticide on lettuce? That is going to be on the pesticide label. I'm seeing farmers applying certain pesticides that are not on applying the pesticides on certain crops, whereby you don't have this particular crop on the pesticide label. Once the crop is not on the pesticide label, you should not apply this particular pesticide on the crop. But the thing is, while there are lots of benefits in terms of pesticide use, there are lots of disbenefits as well. As we said earlier, in terms of crop production, it has increased exponentially because of the use of pesticide. But the thing is, there is an inherent risk in pesticide use. Once you use pesticide, you're going to contaminate the environment.
True.
You're going to contaminate yourself, and you're going to contaminate the crop that you sprayed the pesticide on. Let's not fool ourselves, because that is why they have the MRL. Because once you use the pesticide, you must have pesticide residue on the product. And as you said, a crop like lettuce, sometimes persons don't even wash lettuce.
Exactly.
You just take the lettuce and you persons on the farm.
That is why you need to wash the lettuce.
Yeah, so again, key is how, when, and why are we applying pesticide?
Yes.
We do not apply pesticide, as I said earlier, to kill the pest. We use pesticide to control the pest. Sometimes the pest population is too high and you try to knock it down. Use pesticide to repel.
Right.
Sometimes you're being cautious, you apply this pesticide and it's going to repel the pest.
This is what I was coming to ask you. Are there, well, I don't want to say safe chemicals because it's still a chemical, but are there other biochemicals that you can use to control pests?
Yes, but in terms of safe chemicals, there are chemicals that are safer than others. And it may not be perfect, but one way, if you buy the pesticide to know this, is by checking on the color band, whatever color band. If you purchase in a pesticide and you see this particular pesticide, the color band is red, it means this particular pesticide may be highly hazardous or extremely hazardous. if you purchase a pesticide, a class 2 pesticide, a pesticide with a yellow color band, it will tell you that this pesticide is moderately hazardous. Now, if you purchase in the pesticide, you see a blue color band, it says that this particular product is slightly hazardous. That you can use this as a guide. But again, the green, if you use a pesticide, if I go and purchase a pesticide, I see a green color band. As somebody working in pesticide, I know well the LD50 of this particular pesticide is in excess of 5,000 mg per kilogram of body weight. So it's very unlikely that it's going to cause any harm to human health. So as a scientist, I will know that I'm going to purchase it.
But the layman would not know that.
That's what I'm saying. These are the kind of things that we have to educate those persons out there on. But who
is supposed to educate the populace in that regard?
Forum like this where you can come once in a while. I wish it could have been probably once every month. We have extension officers working with the farmers. Those persons working in the agribusiness places, very important. That's why, because they're the ones sometimes selling the wrong pesticides to those persons. So we need to train them as well. Persons at customs, we need to train them as well, because that is a point of entry of those particular of the chemicals. So we've been trying a lot in terms of training farmers and so creating the awareness. But as I said, the kind of change that we were expecting, we're not getting it.
Well, boy, so we're still in trouble, eh?
Yes, as I said, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop.
Yeah, all is not lost. I think, we just have to be very mindful. And persons out there need to be very careful. Just don't go and spray without asking questions, without getting advice from the extension officers,
Well, again, this is unethical. You sprayed a particular product, you read the pesticide container, you see, well, the pre-harvesting interval is 7 days. You spray today, you get a call tomorrow,
and you want to harvest.
This is not ethical. There's no way anyone can control it except you.
Exactly.
If you are concerned about human health, if you are concerned about the food security of the nation, you're going to do better. Yeah. But these are the kind of things that we want to see.
Final words from you, my brother?
Well, we're looking at safer options. We've realized that the use of highly toxic pesticides in agriculture, at the household level, for structural pest control, even in some of the paints that we use, we've realized that this is not sustainable. And that is why at the board level, we push in safer pesticides, biopesticides, pesticides that you do not need any pre-harvesting intervals to after spraying to consume the product.
All right.
They are less toxic to the environment, less toxic to human health. So with the biopesticides now, it means you will not be destroying the environment. So that is the way forward, the use of biopesticides.
Well, Doc, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
and let's continue to do that.
So the time was too short. So I mean,
you have to do it a bit more regular now.
So I mean,
we'll do that again.
We can have something. We can have a calling program as well.
Thank you for being here, my brother.
No problem.
You have been watching Agriculture on the Move. Thank you for viewing the program. I just want to see, there was this Dashing Festival in Fosse Jacques. Monsieur Isidore, Monsieur Bousquet, au Gouin, ça, moi bien content. I know everything's happening well in Fosse Jacques. All is well. Go down there for your blue food. Thank you again for viewing. I'm Philip Sidney saying goodbye and see you again. Thank you, my brother.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Mission, et qu'il y a une espérance.